Hi Ram, and welcome all of you for today's satsang with Brother Aravind Balasubramanya. I'm really excited and honored to introduce our speaker. Today, Aravind will be speaking on the topic constant contemplation of the Lord. Give a brief summary about Aravind's background and achievements. You can write books on his introduction because a lot of people know a lot about him. So I just give a brief summary which runs into one page. Aravind Balasubramanya hails from a family that has been devoted to Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba for over 6 decades. His father was a photographer of Bhagavan in the late 60s and early 70s in Vrindavan, and many of the old black and white photographs which we see regularly on Swami have been through his lens. Inspired by his parents, especially his mother, to spend his life with his beloved Bhagavan, Aravind joined Sri Sathya Sai Vidyapit in Calicut, Kerala for his primary education. He joined Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School in Prashantinalayam for high schooling. With a desire to stay close to the physical proximity of the avatar, Aravind studied bachelor's in science with chemistry as major from Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, for which he secured a gold medal. He continued his further studies in Masters in Science, Chemistry as major, and Masters in Business Administration at Patti. It was the institute that he got several opportunities to speak in the divine presence, act in many presentations and plays, and also pursue photography as he picked up from his father. He was careful in recording almost every day that he spent in the physical proximity of his Lord via his many personal diaries and photographs. Blessed by Baba to join Radio Sai Global Harmony, which he has been majorly responsible for spreading Swami's message across the globe. In Radio Sai, he had done a host of activities, including the Thursday live satsangs, producing documentaries on Swami and his message, and of course, writing articles. He was Swami's official photographer for nearly 5 years and traveled along with Swami during his trips to Hachi, Mumbai, Delhi, and Simla. Photography is not just his hobby, it is his passion, and he has worshipped Swami through it. After Bhagavan's Mahasamadhi in April 2011, Aravind started to write blog based on what he had recorded in personal diaries. He has addressed gatherings in USA, the Caribbean, the Middle East, and Nepal, also traveling around India. Till recently, he was a content editor in Radio Sai and was instrumental in presenting many documentaries and videos or talk shows. He has authored 5 books which have been widely read, and in his blogs, with over 3 million views, he had inspired many. His hobbies include photography, theater, badminton, and cricket, blah, blah, blah. There are quite a few. Some of the books he has written, the 5 books he has written are Memoirs of a Sai Student in 2014. The second volume of the same book is Capturing Divinity, as titled, in 2015, Living with God in 2015, Stories and Inspiration 2017, and the latest one is Sri Sathya Sai Bhagavatam, part 1. So part 2 and many more parts will be expected from him. With this so-called brief introduction, I would hand over the mic to Brother Aravind.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most humble pranams at the lotus feet of beloved Bhagwan. Dear Swami, respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, it's such a beautiful thing to sit and recapitulate about Swami, to remember Swami. And it is indeed a blessing for all of us that we get this opportunity to think about him, to speak about him, to hear about him. In the introduction, when it was mentioned that Swami gave me the opportunity to travel along with him to Hachi and Delhi, I remembered one episode that happened after we returned from our visit with Swami to Hachi and Mumbai. This was in October and November of 2009. And it was such a beautiful 5 days that we spent with him in Hadshi and Mumbai that we were all very overwhelmed. Personally, it was my first ever opportunity to travel with Swami, and the amount of love that Swami showered, I was so overwhelmed that I said we should make a gratitude card for Swami. We made a gratitude card for Swami and we took it to Swami in the bhajan hall. Swami saw us and asked, "What is it?" We went and opened that card and told him, "Swami, we are very grateful for the opportunity that you bestowed on us and that you allowed us to travel along with you." Swami said, "That's good. But you know, all of these, record and keep it in your heart. In the future, when you will not get these opportunities, when you're feeling low, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling anything that is negative, remember all of these and be happy." That was Swami's guidance. No wonder, I mean, today we realize how beautifully meaningful and prophetic those words are. Anything else that we remember, we will be committing the mistake of clinging on to the past. Except for Swami's stories and glories, because Swami is Nitya Nutana, Satya Sanatana. Nitya Nutana meaning ever new, Satya Sanatana meaning the eternal truth. He is the eternal truth. He is more ancient than the ancient, and yet he is ever new. Every time we listen to the same story, we feel something different. We learn something different. It's so amazing. I have seen that in my own life. All those personal experiences with Swami, which I have managed to record for my own benefit. Swami told us to record not for his benefit, not that his Bhagavatam has to be written and shared. He doesn't bother about it at all. The only thing that he cares about is us. For our own good, he told, write it and record it and relive it. Each time I relive a personal experience, new meanings arise, new messages come. It's so beautiful. And I feel there is no other way to sanctify our lives than to relive those incidents, those stories of Swami, full of meaning, full of messages, full of love, full of joy. Let's go back, to the 1940s. Swami had not yet shifted to the Prashantinilayam Mandir. Swami was in what we call today as the Pata Mandir, meaning the old Mandir. But it was the Kotta Mandir in those days. It was the new Mandir that Swami had built because it was inaugurated on the 14th of December 1945. So I'm talking about possibly 1946 or 47. One of those days, those devotees, men and women alike, were seated in the courtyard. They had gathered a lot of tulsi leaves. Tulsi, the basil, the holy basil. And with the thread, they were threading it and making garlands. So Swami walked in there and he saw all of them making garlands. Swami said, "You're all making tulsi garland. Okay. The one who makes the longest garland, I will give double Pad Namaskar," Swami said. He said double Pad Namaskar because those days everybody would get one Pad Namaskar. That was taken for granted. It was taken for granted. Pad Namaskar and everybody will get. Double Pad Namaskar, oh, okay. So everybody, began to compete. Now it became a competition. Everybody is making the garland and Swami is walking around like an examiner in an examination hall. Swami is walking around and motivating them, encouraging them, cracking jokes. It's so beautiful for them. They are making the garland. This goes on for some time. After a while, suddenly the place has gone silent. They're not hearing Swami crack jokes and they look up and they see that Swami is gone. Are, where is Swami? Where is Swami? They're searching. Where is Swami gone? They ask each other, "Hey, did you see Swami?" No, I don't. He was here only. Are. Last he was speaking to you, right? Or was he speaking? They're confused. How can somebody just vanish like that? They know Swami is divine. They've accepted him as their Lord. Still, still, that is Maya. That is Maya. Okay, where he went there? Slowly, one by one, they stopped their garland making. They've all stopped. They're all now searching, where is Swami? He's here, just here. How can he just disappear before our eyes? And even as they're searching for him like this, just as he had disappeared, Swami appears there again. And he's come with a long tulsi garland around himself. A garland that he has made. He says, where are your garlands? He comes. Where are your garlands? See how nicely I have made. I'm the winner. Swami is the winner because he has made the longest garland. Others have stopped midway. Oh, Swami, Swami said, I was here looking at all of you. What you were doing? They were not able to see him, but he is able to see them. Swami then says, okay, it's all right. It's all right. You've all made garlands of different lengths now. Tie them up all together, combine them, and make them into balls. So different people combine garland, making a very long garland, and roll it up into a ball. So now they're having tulsi leaf balls. Swami will start throwing them at me. Come, throw at me. Hit me with the balls. It's a nice play with the Lord. What fun it is, what joy it is. Swami so playful. So they start throwing those tulsi balls at him. The minute they throw, Swami catches and throws back. The minute they throw, Swami catches and throws back. Now, what you have to keep in mind is that there are about 15-20 people there and 8 or 10 tulsi balls there, and everybody is throwing. Every ball Swami is catching and throwing back. This goes on. This goes on and on and on. And again, the very, very fascinating part of this is every devotee is feeling that Swami is playing ball with me. The devotee is not able to see that Swami is playing it with the other 18 or 20 people as well. He or she thinks that Swami is there for me only, playing with me only. And this feeling, each devotee is feeling. This is how Rasa Leela would have been in the Dwapara Yuga. Each Gopika feeling that Krishna is dancing with me only. Not knowing that every Gopika is enjoying that same joy. That joy, Swami is giving to these devotees. They are throwing the tulsi ball at him and playing with him, and it goes on. And finally, one of the devotees says, Swami, I'm feeling a little giddy in my head and tired. And Swami says, that is because for 3 hours you have been playing with me. 3 hours? And at the same time, every devotee is telling this to Swami, and Swami is giving the same reply to every devotee. It is only after this wonderful Leela gets over and Swami tells, come, let's go into the mandir. And they enter the Patha Mandiram. That is when these devotees realize that, hey, you know what? I was playing with Swami. No, but how were you playing with Swami? I was playing with Swami. I was playing with Swami. Everybody has been playing with Swami. And everybody has been playing for 3 hours. What a Leela that is. For several days after that, these devotees were lost in the joy of that Leela. This Leela has been recorded in a beautiful book called Love is My Form, published by Sai Towers, authored by Shri Padmanabhan. Beautiful book with lovely images. Now, as I read this incident, something struck me, We are all busy in our own work in the world. The Lord comes and divinizes that work. They were making tulsi, they were tying tulsi leaves to threads. And Swami made it into an activity, into a sadhana, by giving them the incentive that I will give you double Pad Namaskar. That is what God does. That is what the presence of God does. That presence sanctifies every activity. Isn't that what Swami did? He made each one of us, when we were even serving him directly. I made a reference to the visit to Hadshi. At Hadshi, some devotees did not even get the chance to have Swami's darshan because they were serving all the other devotees who were coming there to have Swami's darshan. But do you think they did not feel his presence? Definitely they felt his presence. Definitely they felt joy. Otherwise, who would be foolish to give up darshan to do something else? Unless it is giving you joy equal to or greater than having darshan, why would you give that up? That is what Swami did. Whether it's a hospital, whether it's an educational institution, whatever it is that you wanted to do, Swami came and divinized it. Like he divinized those garland making things. He himself participated in it. What is the need for Swami to make a garland? Honestly. In the same way, what is the need for Swami to do anything? Lord Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, I have no duty to perform. I have no duty to perform. And yet I perform because of love. Duty without love is deplorable. Duty with love is desirable. Love without duty is divine. So beautiful, right? Duty without love, I'm doing it for the heck of doing the work. Deplorable, it's not good. We don't like it. Duty with love, that is desirable. Yeah. Can I do my duty with love? Whatever I'm doing, whatever is my profession, whatever is my job, whatever is my responsibility as a husband, as a father, as a daughter, as a mother, as a grandmother, as an aunt, with love I'm doing. That is desirable. But Swami, love without duty. There's no need for him to be loving. There's no need for him to do anything. Yet he does because of love. That is divine. And so Swami also participates. Oh, you're doing it, I'll also do. Come. I'll also join you. He tells us also, do this. I will give you double Pad Namaskar. And then he seems to disappear. Where has Swami gone? He's gone nowhere. He's continuing to do his task. Though we cannot see him, he can see us. He tells, I can see you. I can see all that you're doing. Don't for a moment also be deluded that I'm not seeing you. I see your pains, I see your suffering, I see your sorrow, I see your confusion, I see everything. But I'm continuing my task. Because when I come, my garland is fully done and you have stopped midway. Yeah, Swami, I stopped off everything because I thought you were gone. No, I'm never gone. Don't stop. Don't stop what I've told. I will keep up my word. I have told you I'll give you double Pad Namaskar. I will give you, but none of you will get double Pad Namaskar because all of you have stopped the task that I have given you to do. But Swami, you went off. You thought I went. Now see, I'll play with you. I'll play. You were missing one Swami, right? Each of you will get one Swami now. Each of you will have one Swami to play with. Till you yourself will tell, Swami, I'm feeling tired. I don't know why. Yeah, because you've been playing with me. This is the Rasa Leela. To give each one of you your own individual Swami. That is why I vanished. That is why I took a break. Because I don't want to give one Swami for 20 of you. I want to give one Swami for each of you. Whatever Swami does is for the better, is for the best. When Swami came in a physical form and stayed with us, that was the best. When Swami leaves the physical form to stay with us even closer, that is for the best. We should never forget that. We have accepted him as our Lord. We have taken him as our master. We know that every word he has said or he says is the Veda. Then why sorrow? Then why wonder? Then why doubt? Then why hesitation? Why do we stop what we are doing? Why don't we just continue? Because that is the presence. He is there. He is there. Even when we think he is gone, he is there. Go back to the 12th of September 2010. It was a very special day for many of us in Prasanthi Nilayam at that time. The students who had decided and who had been blessed by Swami to stay back in Prasanthi Nilayam or Vrindavan or in his various institutions and work for Swami directly, all of us called ourselves as Sai Sannidhi, meaning the divine proximity of Swami, the Sai Sannidhi group. And every year, one day, we would celebrate a Sai Sannidhi Day. Swami was extremely gracious in permitting us to celebrate it, I think 2008, 2009, 2010, 3 years, or maybe even 2007 for 4 years. That year in 2010, some of the elder brothers of the group said that, see, Swami always emphasizes on gratitude, especially towards parents. This year for Sai Sannidhi Day, can we bring our parents to Swami and seek Swami's blessings? When this idea was conveyed to Swami, Swami was very enthusiastic. He said, yes, yes. On the 11th of September, I still remember, after the bhajan got over, I was sitting in the front and I was taking photographs with my camera. Swami turned towards me and said, tomorrow, Repu, parents, Purna Chandra. Swami said, tomorrow in Purna Chandra, parents. It was so sweet to see that excitement in Swami. See, we have excitement. Tomorrow in the Purna Chandra auditorium, Swami is going to come and, bless us, whatever, something is going to happen. Swami also exuding that excitement. It is no different from that Swami in 1946 or 47 saying that I will also make garland. There is no need for Swami to make garland. There is no need for Swami to get excited that he's going to meet us. That's what it is. See, so lost I am in thinking that I love Swami and I am pining for him, I am craving for him, I am yearning for him. I forget that he yearns for me, craves for me, pines for me even more than that. When I look forward to seeing him, he is looking forward to see me with much more vigor, enthusiasm and joy. So the next day, on the 12th, we were all seated there. Neat blocks had been made, numbered, and each one of us had been given a number. Me and my parents, we were number 127. So one block with tape had been put in Purna Chandra auditorium. We were seated there. And Swami began from number 1, 2, 3, he would go. He was being wheeled on the chair and slowly Swami was interacting with different students and their parents. It took almost 45 minutes for him to come near us, near 127, where me and my parents were seated. So during that 45 minutes, I took some photographs and sometime I just thought, let me brief my parents, prepare them. This is a great opportunity, especially my mother. My mother had never till then got an opportunity to speak to Swami or, get this one-on-one kind of interaction. So I told my mother, this is a wonderful opportunity. Don't let go of it. Ask Swami whatever you want. She asked, what should I ask? Tell me, what should I ask? I said, Mom, Amma, that is something that is private between you and Swami. You ask whatever you want. Don't even take my suggestion. You ask. She said, okay, I'll ask. So then, as I went around photographing, I saw Swami was interacting with all the students, with all the parents. Every one of them were talking to Swami, asking him various things. Suddenly one thought struck me. So I went back to my mother. I was in the middle of photographing, walking, but I walked back to my mother and I said, Mom, I asked her, what are you planning to ask? She gave back my answer to me. She said, you only told that it's between you and Swami, so I don't want to tell. I'll ask him directly. I was caught. So I said, okay, mother, you can ask whatever. But in this place, there are 160 people, 160 families are sitting here and everybody is asking. Ask something unique or something special so that, it sticks to Swami's mind. Again, Maya. I told, ask something from Swami, something unique so that he remembers, Everybody, Swami, please be with me. Swami, let me spend my entire life with you. Always be in my heart. I think everybody will be telling that. So tell something little unique, something little different so that he remembers. This was what I told her. Now, let me take a little detour here and go back to possibly 2003 or 2002. During a Tri session, I wrote a letter to Swami. It had been many days since Swami had taken a letter from me. It had been many days since any physical interaction had happened between me and Swami. So I wrote a letter. And in that letter, I had started by telling Swami, I don't have any problem. I don't have anything to ask from you because everything is fine by your grace. But I feel like writing this letter because, I want to be in the top of your mind awareness. That's a marketing term. Every advertiser or every marketer wants to keep advertising and marketing because they want the product to remain in the customer's top of the mind awareness. When a customer remembers a cool drink, he should remember my name. When a customer remembers a shoe, he should remember my name. When a customer remembers a car, he should remember my brand. That's called top of the mind awareness. And having read that in some textbook, I wrote that. I said, Swami, I'm writing this letter to you so that I remain in your top of the mind awareness. That day when Swami came and sat on the Jhula, one rare opportunity, one rare occasion where he accepted my letter. He used to take my letters while walking during darshan, but sitting on the Jhula in Trai Vrindavan, when Swami asks and takes, that would feel more special. See, all this is Maya, okay? All this is Maya, because when Swami takes your letter, whether he asks for it or whether you give it, it doesn't matter. He has taken the letter. But we used to have these gradations. If I give the letter to me and Swami takes, it's one level of joy. But if I'm just sitting with the letter and Swami asks and takes, that is higher, that is greater. So I really felt very special. And to make the occasion even more special, on the Jhula, Swami opened that letter and began to read it right in front of me there. And I felt, wow. And Swami read it for about 5 seconds. He must have completed that first sentence where I had written that, Swami, I have no reason to write this, but I'm writing so that I can remain in the top of your mind awareness. Swami was reading the letter. He got a smile on his face. He closed it within 5 seconds. He looked at me and then right in front of me, tore it, shredded it to pieces and put it down. Everybody thought that I had written something terrible. I realized that I had written something very stupid. Swami doesn't require reminders for us to be in the top of his mind awareness. Once we tell Swami we want you, and Swami accepts us, we may forget him, he won't forget. In fact, there is this lovely app called Ask Swami. I don't know if it's there in iOS, but in Android it is there. Answers from Swami. Basically, different messages from Swami, they put it randomly and you can randomly select, like how it's a modern version of picking chits. Today morning is Aradhana day, right? Today is Aradhana day, and Aradhana means devotional remembrance. So I opened this app and I pressed the message to see what is the message. The message that came was, the difference between God and man is that even if man forgets to remember God, God never forgets to remember man. That's what it is. We don't need to remind Swami to keep us in the top of his mind awareness. We have to remind ourselves to keep him in the top of our mind awareness because we forget him. Anyway, this is what I had told my mother. And when Swami came close to us, Swami interacted with my father, with me, and what was said and spoken is possibly subject of some other talk. Then my mother, I was waiting to see what she'll ask. She tells Swami, Swami, I want to cook food for you. Will you consume it? I was like, oh God, what did you ask? In my mind, I was thinking, what did you ask? I told you to ask for something grand, glorious. There's a single opportunity, and you're asking for cooking for him. Wow. And Swami replied, definitely not now, later. And my mother said, thank you, Swami, and sat back. And as Swami proceeded front, I said, Mother, what you asked? Yeah, I want to cook for him. I want him to partake. I said, in my mind, I was thinking practically, at that time, already about 20-30 people were sending food to Swami. And Swami barely eats anything. So I was wondering, where will my mother be able to send food to Swami? I said, so, Amma, I don't know now if you can send. She said, not now, later. Swami said, later he will give the chance. So it's okay. This was September 2010. 6 months later, March 2011, Swami was taken to the hospital. April 2011, Swami left the physical. And I told my mother, see, Mom, I think you should see Swami in each one of us, make us happy with your food. Huh? Because I think that's what Swami meant. Though she was very adamant and refusing to accept that, I think finally she also accepted it. She said, yeah, I think that's what Swami meant possibly. So whenever I would relish the food or my father would relish the food, she would feel, yeah, I'm feeding Swami. But Swami never forgets. Swami never forgets. What happened for a couple of months after that, unforgettable. Swami came in my wife's dream and told her that you're not keeping food for me. I'm very hungry. So from that day onwards, in a silver plate, we would keep Swami food for Swami and keep it in the altar. And then it started. When you keep food there, Vibhuti would manifest on the food. On the upma, on the semia, on the dosa. I remember once masala dosa. For those who don't know, masala dosa is a dosa in which there is potato curry filling. My mother made masala dosa and kept. The potato filling, the masala is missing, and in its place is Vibhuti. Wow. And my mother said, see, Swami told me later I'll consume, and he's consuming. She was so thrilled with joy. As I said, it went on for a couple of months. After that, it stopped. But once Swami gives a word, he never goes back on it. If at all Swami has ever told us, I will take care of you, rest assured that it holds good till my last breath of my last janma, not just this birth. Because I may forget, Swami will never forget. Swami is waiting for us. He never forgets. In fact, again, going back to the Pathamandiram days, if we think how all this routine began in the mandir, the Suprabhatam, Veda chanting. In the Pathamandiram, Swami would be the first to get up in the morning, rise in the morning. Because there was a shortage, there was only one bathroom. Swami would go and take his bath first. And wrapped in a towel, quickly run back to his little room. Before anybody wakes up. Get dressed. He would then go and decorate the altar. Keep flowers in the altar. Light the lamp. Light incense sticks. And then sit and wait for devotees to get up. In fact, some days he would go around with the torch and wake up the devotees and tell, hey, it's time, get up now. We talk of doing Suprabhatam to the Lord. The Lord would do Suprabhatam for the devotees. Not just the morning, even at night, Swami's cot would be in the center of the courtyard and everybody would be lying down around him on beds. Swami would act as if he's sleeping. After some time, get up with the torch and go around to ensure that there are no snakes, scorpions, or some dogs or whatever, nothing. He would keep guard at night. The Lord does all these for the devotees. It was at that time that some devotees noticed, some women noticed, and some women thought, Arey, Swami is getting up in the... No. They began to rise earlier than him, and they would clean up the mandir, they would clean up the path for Swami, they would go and start keeping flowers. And when Swami saw that they're enjoying doing it, Swami said, okay, you enjoy doing it, do it. Some people enjoyed keeping the water ready for Swami's bath. They would heat up and tell, oh, yo, how can Swami have cold water bath? Let's set up a fire and, boil some water and keep for him. Okay, Swami allowed them. If it gives you joy, do it. Swami had no problem taking bath in cold water. But when that devotee gets joy, okay, do it. Whether it is receiving flowers from us, letters from us, aarti from us, anything. Swami does it because it gives us joy. And that is how the mandir schedule got established and the roles got reversed. Everybody would say that, no, how can Swami get up before us and do everything ready and keep for us? Let us get up before him and keep everything ready for him. That's how came the Suprabhatam, the Veda chanting, the everything, That's how the schedule got established. So Swami started everything by setting his own way, sharing his own love. And the whole schedule that is there, it got established because Swami allowed the devotees to do whatever they wanted to do for him. But the truth of the matter is, Swami is always waiting for us. Swami is always waiting for us to connect to him. And when we think of how can we always think of Swami, when I have got so many jobs to do, so many work to do, so many responsibilities on my head, the answer that Swami tells us, do those responsibilities for me. Do those jobs for me. Bring me into every aspect of your life. I'm waiting to get into every aspect of your life. You are only not ready to bring me in. What can I do? The other day, I remember I was standing with one gentleman and we were having a nice satsang. Then somebody happened to pass by and he recognized me and he came to me and he said, Sai Ram, brother Aravind. I also said Sai Ram, and we were speaking, and the other gentleman who was standing with me, this person who was talking to me wasn't paying much attention to him. This person went on telling, you're doing great work, amazing it is in spreading Swami's message and this and that. And then I said, sir, it's all Swami's grace. And I was trying to introduce the person standing beside me. And before I could do that, he said, sir, I'm driver here. So he said that he's a driver in Prashant Nilayam, and that person said, oh, okay, Sai Ram. And he continued to talk to me. I interrupted him and said, he is saying he's a driver. He's Padmanabhan, sir. He's Swami's driver. Oh, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. From ignoring that person, next instant, he began to tell, oh, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. What brought about the transformation? The transformation came because the person transformed from being a driver to Swami's driver. That's all. That's what it is. We have a very, very narrow definition of contemplating about Swami or doing Swami's work. We think this is Swami's work, this is worldly work. But the moment we do everything for him, he comes into every aspect of our life. Can I be Swami's marketing manager? Can I be Swami's accountant? Can I be Swami's carpenter? Can I be Swami's gardener? Just imagine, the other day I was sitting in Mandir and I was speaking to one of the brothers, and he is the son of Swami's washerman, Swami's dhobi. And I was so keen to listen to him. Even a washer person, a laundry man, becomes so important when the laundry he does is for Swami. What is stopping us from doing everything we do for Swami? If I'm cooking at home, can I cook for Swami? He will partake. I know with full conviction because he did for my mother. When she cooked at home for Swami, Swami came and partook it. He showed that I'm partaking it. That is the secret. That is the way I think we should go forward. And it's not about what can I do for Swami. It's about whatever I do, Swami, it's for you. And I will do it in a manner thinking whether this will make Swami happy or not. How should I do this so that Swami is happy? When that becomes our focus, automatically everything is taken care of. I will possibly conclude with one personal experience again, which happened on the Sai Sannidhi Day. Sai Sannidhi Day, this time in 2009. Swami was speaking to all of us in the bhajan hall. And towards the end, Swami asked if any one of us had doubts. Different people asked different questions. Swami gave me the opportunity to ask one question. I asked him, Swami, You told us that we should remember always that we are God. I am God, I am God. But Swami, if I keep telling I am God, will not people think that I'm being audacious? Will not people think I'm being egoistic? Swami said, no, I am God, I am God. That is the correct truth. That is the correct truth. But simply keep telling like a parrot, I am God, and do all the nonsense that you want. That's not right, Swami said. And everybody laughed. Swami then said, remember Bangaru, patted lovingly on the cheek. Swami said, remember, when you with full conviction believe you are divine, you will become divine. And then Swami said, you will not say this is idi prapancha pandlu, idi inti pandlu, idi office pandlu, idi Swami pandlu. Meaning you will not say this is office work, this is house work, this is Swami's work. No. Because you are divine. Whatever you are doing is divine work. When you realize that you are divine, everything that you do becomes divine work. See, whether Swami did serving Narayanas and Narayan Seva, or whether Swami arranged the saris in a cupboard when we got the opportunity to work along with him, or whether Swami made garlands. When we get the opportunity to work with Swami, we feel that's the greatest thing we have done. That is the most divine thing we have done. Why? Because we are doing it for Swami, with Swami. And Swami is telling us that is the secret, Bangaru. Whatever you do with me, do for me. With me in your heart, for me in your heart. Do it up to my satisfaction. And you will never feel my absence. Because I'm always there, I'm seeing you. And the only reason I seem to have disappeared is so that each one of you can discover me in the innermost recesses of your heart. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to talk to you. I'm waiting to dine with you. I'm waiting to spend time with you. Are you also waiting in the same way as I am? That's the question Swami in our heart asks. I firmly believe that we should not separate things as worldly work and Swami's work. You know, I'm just tempted before I know I said I'll conclude with that personal experience, but I'll conclude with this. A discourse that I read. This was a discourse that Swami delivered on the 8th of October 1986. In that discourse, Swami dilates at length on the different paths to God, the Navavita Bhakti Marga. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. And he gives example for each of these. Shravanam, Raja Parikshit. Kirtanam, Shukamuni, who told the story to Parikshit. I told you, right? Shravanam and Kirtanam go on together. Smaranam, Prahallada. Padasevanam, Mother Lakshmi. Vandanam, Raja Prithu. Vandanam, Akrura. Archanam, Raja Prithu. Dasyam, Hanuman. Sakhyam, Arjuna. Atmanivedanam, Bali Chakravarti. It suddenly struck me, how come Narada is not there? You know, Narada keeps chanting Narayana's name, right? He should be in Kirtanam or at least in Smaranam. As I was thinking this, I read another story that Swami has narrated about Narada, where, you know, Narada thinks that he is the greatest devotee. I'm cutting the story short. Narada thinks he is the greatest devotee, and he's shocked when Narayana or Vishnu tells that there is a farmer on earth who is the greatest devotee. And Narada goes and sees what is this farmer doing that he is becoming the greatest devotee. Morning he gets up, thinks of Lord Vishnu, goes to his work. Midday as he's having his lunch, he's thinking of Vishnu once. At the end of the day, before going to bed, he thanks Vishnu and he tells, thank you for a wonderful day, O Lord. And 3 times a day he's thinking of God. And he's the greatest devotee. How come? When he goes to Narayana, Lord Vishnu tells Narada, Narada, do one small work for me. What is it? Can you carry this pot of oil around the world once? Okay. One condition, Narada, it is up to the brim with oil. Not a drop should spill out. If a drop spills out, I'll be very upset. Narada says, okay. So he carefully carries and goes. And he completes the mission successfully. When he comes back, Narayana asks him, Narada, tell me, during this entire walk, how many times did you think of me? Lord, I was doing a job that you gave me. Huh? Was carrying this burden on my head. I was thinking of nothing else except that I should not spill the oil. What? How could I think of you that time? And then Vishnu tells Narada, Narada, that farmer is carrying far greater loads on his head. But he accepts all of that as tasks that I have given him. And in between all of that, he finds some time and thinks of me. That's why he is my greatest devotee. So it's not about separating work and tasks and things as divine and worldly, but to do everything for Swami. Every task is divine. Swami, may we find fulfillment in our life by doing everything as a task, as an offering to you. And may our love for you keep growing stronger every passing moment. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you so much, Brother Aravind. It was such a joy to listen in and reminisce on all that you've kind of shared with us this morning. Again, just to the devotees, if any of you have any questions, feel free to post them on the chat window or email them across. I think one of the questions, brother, that has come about is, one devotee says the Tulsi Mala story was a very nice story. And, she's saying identifying Swami, each of us seems hard to come by. Any suggestions or stories there that you could share?
Identifying Swami in everyone around.
Yeah.
I think
each of us, yeah.
I think more than trying to see Swami in each of us, I find it easier to think of it as a drama which Swami is doing, like convocation drama that we do. And each of us have been given a role. So, in the drama there, what used to happen, when in the drama that I was acting, some subordinate of mine takes the cash of the company and where I have told him to deposit in the bank, he finds some accident victim on the road and gives up the money for his treatments. And next day I get so angry on him and I tell, what do you think? You think company money is your personal money? And I fire him. So in the beginning, Swami used to tell, correct, what you're doing is right. He has no right to take company's money like that and do that off. But after a while, Swami began to tell, how can you scold him? See, you simply scolding him. Such a good thing he's doing and you're scolding. And I used to tell Swami, I have nothing for him or against him. It is just my role, that's what is written in the script and I'm just following the script. I felt later on that is the message Swami is giving me also, that in life also, when you're meeting somebody is being nice to you and you get attached to them. Somebody is not being nice to you and you start hating them. Both raga, dvesha, Swami would say. Raga is attachment and dvesha is hatred. Swami would say both are problems. Because in both the cases, you have forgotten that they're just doing the role they're supposed to do. So rather than trying to see Swami in everyone, which I find very hard, I think of it as all are actors whom Swami has given a role. That's all. So this person is being very mean, being very terrible, being horrible. I may get some negative thoughts, but I quickly quell that of saying, no, that's just his role. What can he do? That is his script. And this is my script. I am supposed to be, so we'll follow the script. I find that easier to practice so that I don't get unduly attached to people, nor do I feel too much of hatred or irritation against people. So that I can focus on my own sadhana and growing closer to Swami in my heart.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for that answer. While we wait on any further questions, I guess I got to ask you this. Murli Anna began by introducing you as a chemistry gold medal. So my question to you is, how do we get a gold medal with respect to having the right the perfect chemistry with Bhagwan. What has been your secret formula there?
This is very interesting because you know what? When I was thinking of my talk, I actually had thought of mentioning about the gold medals, and somehow I didn't speak throughout. And you're asking this question. See, though we used to have chemistry gold medal, physics gold medal, biology gold medal, all these gold medals, there used to be one gold medal that all of us would try to get, which is the all-rounder gold medal, which Swami would select. And you know, the all-rounder gold medal, if you look at the people who have won that medal, it's not as if they're brilliant in academics. They're good in academics. It's not as if they're brilliant in sports. They're good in sports, but it's not that they're not brilliant in, they're not the number one in anything, but they're good at everything. I feel that is the secret in life about balance. We sometimes, you know, we go, I feel that is the way to, that is also, I don't know which comes first, whether we start having balance and we start doing Swami's work, or when we do everything as Swami's work, the balance automatically comes in. Some of us are so career focused. Some of us are so family focused. Some of us are so means on different. Some of us are so focused on making money. Some of us are so focused on power hungry. So the question is not, oh, so should I not make money? No, you should make money. Or should I not grow in my career? You should grow in your career. Should I not care for my family? You should care for your family. But there needs to be a balance. We need to be Swami's all-rounder gold medalists, not a chemistry gold medalist or a physics. It's nice. A chemistry gold medalist is better than not getting a gold medal. But I always feel we have to be an all-rounder gold medalist, and that Swami would select. You are balanced in everything and highest in your love for God. I feel that's all it is. And when somebody asks me, how do we get that love for God or yearning for God, I also don't know, because I ask Swami directly. You know, all of us pray and ask Swami for different things, right? I just felt that when I'm asking Swami for this, for that, why can't I ask him only for love for him? So I sit and sometimes I cry also. I tell Swami, please, I'm not feeling love for you. I want to feel love for you in my heart. Swami, please give me that love for you. I'll ask him only. When I can ask him for career, when I can ask him for 100 other things, why can't I ask for this? And when he gives me everything, why won't he give me this? That's all it is. It's about making it a priority. When it becomes a priority automatically. Why we eat food? Because we feel that our body needs and I can't stay without it. Like that, when I feel that I can't stay without Swami, no, automatically we'll start reading Swami, we'll start listening to, night when I don't get sleep, I'll plug into Radio Sai and listen to one discourse. And you know, many times I'll start drifting into sleep and I won't even understand what Swami is telling, because I'm sleeping. And nothing different. Many times in Swami's physical presence in the discourse, I have slept. But no problem. I just feel, Swami, you know my intention, no? When I'm not getting sleep, I want to listen to your voice. And it puts me to, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. My divine mother is singing a lullaby and putting me to sleep. I don't care whether I understood or not. I want to listen to his voice. I want to read his books. I think when we feel that, no, automatically he'll come. Because as I tell you, no, brother, we think that we are craving and yearning for Swami and not getting him. The truth is, Swami is craving and yearning for a devotee. He's not getting. He says, Vetuku chunnanu nenu vetukute chunnanu. I'm searching and searching. He wants one devotee. He's not getting. Because the way he invests his time, his love, his heart, his everything, no? Nobody is there to do that for him. So yeah. So I think if little also we show that tendency, you know, he'll come running. He wants us more than we want him.
I think one of the sisters has mentioned, can you please tell us the name of the book that the Tulsi story is in?
It's Love is My Form. It's a big book. It's like he got an honorary doctorate for doing that book. It's called Love is My Form. There's that Sai Towers in Puttaparthi, opposite Gopuram Gate. If you can ask there for that book, they'll have it. I don't know if they run out of copies or whatever. Magnificent book it is, with a lot of photos. More than 500 to 1,000 photographs are there in that, of Swami in the early years, 1940s, 1950s. Yeah.
I think I have another question. You know, I think you talk. You know, incidentally, it's also about the mala. You know, oftentimes, like you said, like even in the Narada story, you know, we believe Swami has given us this job, like Narada was given, of carrying the oil. and we want to offer it to Swami and do it to the best of our ability. Similarly, each act is like a flower as an offering. But oftentimes, in putting together this flower garland or these series of acts, we forget that underlying thread that connects all these flowers. So you talked about top of the mind awareness in your letter to Swami. How do we have top of the mind awareness of the string that connects all our flowers? How do
I remember the EMIs that I have to pay? How do I remember the money that is due to me? I mean, because it's important. No, I make notes. I put a post-it note. I put a reminder in my phone. I really feel it's just a matter of making it, realizing that it's a priority. I mean, how that realization comes, it's His grace, it's His blessing. That realization has to come, and when it becomes a priority, automatically we do. I notice it in my financials. I just ensure that everything I do it on time correctly. I put a reminder. I keep somebody to remind me. And with technology, it's very easy. People have phones, phones ringing to remind them that they're supposed to drink water every 1 hour or something. Put an alarm like that. Do one Sai Gayatri. I mean, I'm just telling. It's so easy. Hourly alarm in my waking hours. If it rings me now, there's a time to do one Sai Gayatri. Swami, yes, you're there. I know you're here waiting for me, Swami, to finish my work and come to you. Yes. I mean, it's so easy actually if we want to. I don't think it's difficult at all. It's just about we wanting to. I also see that when I want to, I think of him and he responds instantly. It's just that every time I don't want to. I'm happy seeing movies. I'm happy being lost in my world.
Thank you. I think the other question that I have is, while I wait on others, again, feel free to pose your questions. There are no good questions. I think every question is worth, looking into. So while we wait on, okay, so there's one that's come in. What does realization mean to you?
I don't know. I think it's like asking how does sugar taste to a person who has never tasted sweetness. I don't know. Just from what Swami says, I feel it's a state where you're unaffected. And I just feel that state of unaffectedness is because of the deep conviction that whatever happens in my life, Swami has planned. So it's good for me. That's all it is. So therefore, if something, what the world calls as good happens, I don't get elated or excited because, hey, what is the big deal? Swami wanted it to happen. That's why it happened. Or something bad that the world says happens to me, I don't get depressed or sad. Hey, what's there in it? This is what Swami wanted. So I feel that state of balance, equanimous. I think something like that it will be, where nothing affects me, nothing touches me. I'm just joy. I'm just full of joy without a reason, because when something, as I said, bad happens also, if you're calm and peaceful and joyous. So if people ask you, why are you happy? My answer should be, I'm happy. I feel that is the state of realization, because the moment I can find a cause for my joy, then when the cause goes, the joy also goes. And Swami had, in fact, told Brother Sanjay Mahalingam in an interview that bliss is causeless happiness. Causeless happiness is bliss. So if I'm able to feel happy, and so anytime I'm feeling happy, why am I feeling happy? Because if I find a reason, then that's not bliss. So I think a state of causeless happiness is what possibly self-realization is.
I think one more question that's come in. You mentioned that the presence of Swami divinizes everything. From your experience, are there examples of people who have stood out in their ability to bring Swami into everything that we do?
Oh, yes. I've had many, like, I have seen, right, in Puttaparthi, Bhagya sir who is there. It's amazing. Professor Kasturi, amazing. Just go through Professor Kasturi's life. First, when we all feel jealous of Professor Kasturi. Do you really want to be in his shoes? You see his life. In fact, his daughter, Padmamma Garu, she was narrating on one occasion, she went to her father and said, Father, what is this happening in our life? She had a very troubled marriage, so many health problems, so many troubles. She said, Dad, tell Swami no. What is it? What have we got? Everything is gone. Huh? Everything is gone. And Professor Kasturi, she tells with tears in her eyes. Her father said, "You are right in what you're telling. But what can I do? I am helpless. He's God. I know He's God. So I know it is all for the good. I don't know. You are right. As a daughter, you are right in saying this is terrible. Yes. As a father, I agree to you. But I am helpless. Because Padma, He's God. He's God." Professor Kasturi, having lost his wife, having had so many marital troubles in his daughter's life, lost his son young, lost his other son. He himself was in so much sickness, yet he had a joy in his face. Bhagya sir, Puttaparthi, oh my God. The troubles that he has gone through, continues to go through. You'll never feel he's having troubles only when you speak to him. That kind of, because they feel everything is what Swami is giving. When you go to a temple and they give you prasad, I mean, as an off, I will not check the flavor, is it good or bad? I just say, oh, this is prasad and take it. I won't tell, can I get a sweet variant? It's not a hotel menu that I'm ordering. It's not a restaurant menu, right? Like that only, the ability to accept whatever comes in life as God's prasadam. Yeah, I have seen people, and it's just through practice and never giving up, persistent. Swami gives grace, I think, to those who are persistent, Shraddha and Saburi, faith and persistence, perseverance. God gives. I have seen many like that. Many are the teachers from whom I have learned subjects, but more important, learned subjects for life. So there are many, many examples.
One more question while we wait on others, if anyone has any.
Okay, last question this is.
Okay, sure. When it's very interesting, right? This is again something that, you are such an energetic, exuberant, and, passionate speaker, of Swami. I want to understand, for someone who's all the time speaking and talking about Swami, how do you utilize your time when you're quiet? Because this is, I think, a very important portion, right, of remembering Swami. How do we find those moments of quietness, that stillness, that equanimity, that equilibrium that you're talking about, amidst all of the conversations that we are having?
See, I don't think that silence is something of a physical silence. The silence is at a mental level. In fact, Swami has spoken about it. Vak Maunam, Manas Maunam, and Maha Maunam. I don't know about Maha Maunam. Vak Maunam is just the first stage, keeping your mouth shut. But I think many times when I've kept my mouth shut, I have seen that my mind runs in a million other directions. So that Manas Maunam is more important than Vak Maunam. So it doesn't matter for me. In fact, when I'm speaking, I find myself having just one or two thoughts. That's all. This is my most Maunam stage, because every other time I have a minimum of 50 thoughts. Even when I'm sleeping, about to go to sleep, I'm having 30, 40 thoughts. So I think reducing the number of thoughts, that's where Namasmarana comes in. That's where thinking of Swami's form comes in. Because ultimately I have to reach a state of no thoughts. But to reach that state, from a million thoughts, let me go to 100 thoughts. From 100 thoughts, let me go to 20 thoughts at least. So for me, you are saying that I'm so enthusiastically speaking. For me, this is a beautiful state of near meditation almost. I never find 1 hour in a day when I'm able to focus so much on Swami. That's possibly the reason I continue to just speak and make videos. Because during that 1 hour, it's like a meditation for me. I barely get any distracting thought. Single pointed focus is Swami, his Leela, his Mahima, maybe some details of the story that I go into. But nothing, I don't remember my family, I don't remember my work, I don't remember my problems. Nothing else comes. In fact, I keep a clock just to remind me that time is over, you have to stop now. Otherwise, so it's a meditation. So as I said, when we say silence, it's not about keeping the mouth shut. It's about reducing the number of thoughts and bringing down to all the right kind of thoughts. That's why Namasmarana is best. Keep Keep reducing it, and then we are more peaceful. It is the thoughts that cause disturbance, not the act of speaking.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for all your time. And I think what that important message that you shared, that Swami has now taken a form wherein he now becomes very personal. He's taken a very personal form for each one of us. From the single form that we so adore to now a personal form that each of us can adore, cherish, and hold dear in our hearts. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's something all of us will take away. Thank you so much for your time and for your
My
sharing.
pleasure. Yes, all Swami's blessings. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. I think I'll pass it on to Brother Sham to closing remarks. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Brother Arvind. We are very, very grateful to Swami to have sent you to us here, even though it's virtually, to share his love through these various episodes in his divine life and in your life and in fellow devotees' lives. And the beauty, the fragrance of all of that is so beautiful. And whether it was the first initial story of the Tulsi episode or finally answering all these questions that have been put to you, you have really just, I would say, I only saw Swami there. It was so beautiful, so much. You just had us focused on Swami. And we are very grateful to your young family as well, because you have a lot of duties as well, like your little children need to be put to bed soon. So we will not take much time in thanking you, but we would be very grateful and honored if you could also now, along with this virtual satsang, our thirst has only increased now. And we would like to see you in person here in our region, here in the country. And we pray to Swami that you should be able to travel here soon so that we can have more stories, more interactions with you. So we pray for that. And Brother Murli and myself and others will be in touch with you to see how it can be made possible. Of course, at your convenience. No, we do not want to cause you any disturbance. But thank you very much, brother. And thank you for making us realize that we need to, as much as more than we yearning for Swami, Swami is yearning for us. And I think that's a very beautiful message. Not that we are remembering Swami on the Aradhana day, but actually he is doing Aradhana of each one of us every day.